You don't hate the media enough. And saving children. It's 5 and 10 from Skywatch TV. 5 things you need to know in about 10 minutes for Thursday, November 13th, 2025. I'm Derek Gilbert. You can find us on Telegram. We have a new Telegram channel there. If you've got the app, do a search under channels for 5 in 10. Please subscribe there. You can also subscribe to us on X, formerly Twitter. Our handle there is at 5_in_10, and we'll keep you up to date with the news throughout the day. Item number 5 today is Gaza. Contra to what the official Hamas Ministry of Health is putting out, the U.S. and Israel are moving an average of 674 humanitarian aid trucks into Gaza per day, delivering more than 15,000 loads of goods and medicine. That's since the ceasefire began on October 10th. This is according to figures compiled by the U.S.-led Civil Military Coordination Center. It's a multinational organization running the operations. This is in a new report from the Washington Free Beacon. This, of course, contradicts claims by Hamas that Israel is getting in the way of aid distribution in Gaza, and reports from other anti-Israel media outlets relying on Hamas for its information. Of course, anti-Israel media outlets would be almost all of the corporate or legacy media. Specific products that had been missing from shelves in Gaza for months, now available in the territory. Eggs arrived for the first time since February, according to U.S. government information. More than 840 pallets of medical supplies, which include neonatal health equipment, much needed for expectant mothers. Those have entered Gaza in recent weeks as well. The difference, the discrepancies between U.S. statistics and the statistics put out there by Hamas suggests that Hamas is trying to undermine the ceasefire agreement and also to distract from the fact that Hamas continues to loot aid shipments into the Gaza Strip and then reselling those goods on the black market in order to continue paying its terror operatives. Item number 4 today, the tariff dividend, from terror to tariffs. President Trump on Sunday announced that most Americans would receive a dividend payment of at least $2,000 paid out of U.S. tariff revenues. And of course, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments this week as to whether the President of the United States has the power to impose tariffs. Treasury Department said in September it had collected more than $195 billion in tariffs in 2025. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says he expects the U.S. to collect about $500 billion in tariffs annually. That's a billion here, a billion there. That kind of adds up pretty quick. On Sunday morning, Bessent told ABC's This Week that the administration's goal with the tariffs was to rebalance trade rather than simply take in revenue. Other countries have been imposing tariffs on goods from the United States, which has led to a massive trade imbalance between the U.S. and the rest of the world, especially with countries like China. Bessent also suggested that the $2,000 dividend proposed by President Trump could come in a number of forms: tax decreases, no taxes on tips, no tax on overtime or other deductions. Honestly, if it were up to me, and of course, your mileage may vary, I'd just as soon the revenue go to pay down the burgeoning federal deficit. Item number 3 today, Antifa versus Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA, of course, the organization founded by the late Charlie Kirk. They held an event over the weekend at Cal Berkeley. And now federal authorities are investigating events following a violent Antifa protest at that event. Violent thugs attacked attendees. This is according to Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General, who heads up the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. TPUSA, of course, founded by Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated at Utah Valley University, on September 10th. This killing allegedly related to Antifa-linked ideology because of anti-fascist markings on spent and unspent bullets seized at the crime scene. Now, again, there are many other questions involved with that ongoing investigation. We won't go into that here, but as I've said before, just for the record, the official story is almost always not correct. And during an ongoing investigation, there can be good reasons for that. like information that they don't want potential suspects to know that the federal investigators know. It's, in other words, internet influencers are not privy to such information and don't necessarily deserve to be privy to such information while the investigation is ongoing. And that fact does not necessarily implicate those who are not sharing that information in the crime. Okay? Anyway, Dylan showed a video, and this is a screen cap from it, that was shared to X by Turning Point USA, showing explosions, fire, smoke, and protesters waving and chanting against fascists. This included a comment by independent journalist Nick Sortor, who described the scene as an absolute war zone. Now, in response to a request by the Epoch Times for comment, Dan Mogulof, who's an assistant vice chancellor at Cal Berkeley, said UC Berkeley has not been notified of any federal investigation, and said that the event, the TPUSA event, was held successfully and proceeded without disruption. Apparently 900 people attended the event in a packed meeting hall. So kudos to the brave students there who attended the Turning Point event at Cal Berkeley despite what was happening outside. Topic number 2 today, Save the Children. A couple of events that took place that we need to report on. Massachusetts authorities reportedly arrested 56 people across the state for alleged child pornography activities. This crime sweep is called Operation Firewall. This information released by the Massachusetts State Police on Monday. A 3-day investigation in 38 communities across the state targeted the growing problem of possession, production, child enticement, and sharing of abuse showing, information or materials showing child sexual abuse. In addition to the arrests, investigators say they searched 34 homes and seized 229 devices. Defendants expected to face charges of child pornography, child enticement, and outstanding warrants for assault, battery of a child, rape of a child, and failure to register with the Sex Offender Registry Board. Meanwhile, the U.S. Marshals Service located and returned dozens of missing children in Memphis, Tennessee over the past several weeks. The service said that 101 children, 101 missing children found and returned over a 40-day operation in Memphis. This was according to a very short press release issued by the Marshals Service on Saturday. Earlier this year, the Department of Justice said it would launch a multi-agency effort to reduce crime in Memphis, and Memphis being one of the most violent cities in the United States, according to FBI statistics. But as Trump sent in the National Guard, the Memphis Police Department said crime in the city is at a 25-year low now across several major categories. The homicide rate now at a 6-year low. But again, they didn't release a whole lot of information here, the Marshals Service, but 101 missing children located, found, and returned. Don't know why they were missing, but you can use your imagination and guess. As we've been saying, and as the focus of our program on the main Skywatch TV broadcast this week will tell you, the trafficking of children is big business. In fact, bigger business for criminal enterprises than illegal narcotics and just about anything else they can do, actually. And we'll tell you more about that in just a moment. Coming up, we'll explain why, again, you don't hate the media enough. That's next on 5 and 10.
This is how we're going to raise a remnant, a body of Christ that's going to stand in the gap for these kids that are voiceless. These kids have no voice. They have no champion. We're going to change that. The book, Innocent Shattered, it points out the malevolent industries that are exploiting our children. It gets into how in the world, Alan, these kids can be coming up missing without a chain of custody. If you were to ask me, Joe Horn, with all the years that you've been working with children, and you've looked into the eyes of those that have been absolutely devastated, ravaged by abuse from malevolent people who have taken pleasure in the screams of terror exhaled, innocence completely stripped before it's even had a chance to find its calling. I believe that that is precisely why Lucifer has waged this war on children in particular, because if they never find why God put them here, he intercepts and snuffs out another warrior for the kingdom. Kids that have experienced this have experienced a lot of it at the malevolent hands of people that are evil. These are people that have given themselves over to Luciferian powers. These are people that take delight in the suffering of children. The average, based on the most intelligent aggregators of information that we have in the United States right now, place it at about 11 to 12 children per day from foster care alone, not the vast population of kids growing up in homes where they haven't been removed yet or coming up missing. No clue where they've gone, they're just gone. Many who will end up being classified as runaway. People feel stirred by it, they want to support you, but they themselves don't feel that they have what it takes to endure barrage after barrage of just the worst parts of humanity. It's in the book, Innocence Shattered. There is a ton of beautiful information, and people just aren't seeing it for the most part because they're not taking the chance. There is an appendix that goes on and on and on about some of the most beautiful ways that people can intervene. And I'm talking anybody, Alan. I don't care if you're grandmother on a pension. I don't care if you're a man that has billions of dollars in land. There is something rather more than just anecdotal praying once a week that you can throw at this. And it is available in this book. Again, a series of thought exercises that help guide the reader through the process of giving God your yes and a belief in how you really, really can make a difference. Wow. So yes, it's an ugly conversation that almost nobody wants to have, but it's the responsibility of the church to have it because we can't wait for the world to do it. The Holy Spirit can show up in a supernatural way and do things for these children that nothing else can do. It's a supernatural battle, and it is time for the church to say enough. Not one more kid in a dog cage, not one more kid out there lost, not one more child not being fed today, not on my watch.
Item number one today, just when you think you hate the corporate media enough, they come up with another example as to why that just isn't true. Democrats have been insisting for months that they're going to get to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein story, by which they mean they're going to do everything they can to tie Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, despite the fact that they are only marginally connected. On Wednesday, the media blasted out a headline shared with them by Democrats that Trump knew about the underage girls that Epstein was trafficking. But they left out an important detail. Yes, Trump knew about the underage girls that Epstein was trafficking, and then he told Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's friend and procurer, to stop. And then he barred Epstein and Maxwell from Mar-a-Lago. That part was left out by the Democrats. That part not in the headlines put out there by the AP, by Reuters, by any number of other major corporate news outlets. Rather important detail. Trump knew, he did something about it, and then he went to the FBI, which is what Donald Trump has been saying since his first term in office. You think you hate the media enough, but you don't. This week on Skywatch TV, as we said, we're talking about the big business of child trafficking. Joe Artis Horn is the author of the new book, Innocence Shattered. And as such, he is the guest on Skywatch TV this week. I was honored to sit in the chair as the host and talk with Joe about it. It is an emotional topic, as you'll see. I kept my handkerchief out of my pocket because I needed it at a couple of points, because as a father of a beautiful young woman, I just cannot conceive of any parent that would willingly traffic their own child for drug money or whatever. And yet this goes on because we turn our eyes away. We refuse to believe that it's happening in our neighborhoods, but it is. Don't miss these programs. These are possibly some of the most, no, I would say definitely some of the most important programs Skywatch TV has ever broadcast. And you can watch it right now at skywatchtv.com, our website. You can go and watch it over the air. Our broadcast schedule posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. Now, you can bring all of our video content, including the main program and these daily news updates, right to your TV if you've got a smart TV or a set-top box. Google TV, Android TV, Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV. Go to their app store, find the Skywatch TV channel, and install it. And then you'll have access to everything that we put out there on video. Bring it right to your, and it's on your schedule whenever you click the remote. You can also watch us over the internet, youtube.com/@skywatchtelevision. Please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit the like button, leave your comments below the programs. You can do the same at rumble.com/skywatchtv, or bring all of this content right into your smartphone or tablet. As with their smart TV app, it bypasses the gatekeepers of big tech and prevents us from being canceled. This is how you can guarantee Skywatch TV never gets canceled. And it's topics like this that have gotten us kicked off of a major video sharing platform, not once, not twice, but 3 times. This specific topic. The mobile app available, by the way, for iOS, Android, and Amazon Kindle Fire devices. And we have links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. Again, 5 in 10 online, on Telegram, on YouTube, at 5 in 10. If you would, please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit the like button, and leave your comments below these programs. And on X, formerly Twitter, at 5_in_10. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.